$1,000,000.
I'm Cooper Bentley.
Hey, I'm Bentley Havens.
You're watching Out the Top.
And you're watching Out the Top.
You're watching Out the Top.
Look at that rock light coming out the top.
Hey guys, Bryant back in the Rock Life studio for episode 69 of Out the Top. I said 69. Dan Carter's back with us. What's up, buddy?
What's happening?
Man, living the dream. Been a big week up here in the Monticello, trying to get caught up with everything before race season truly kicks in this weekend. Yeah, it's getting crazy. So before we get started, as always, guys, check out our memberships if you haven't. We got 2 different levels. Get discounts on merch at Rock Life Offroad, all your Dan Carter merch, all your Out the Top merch, up to 50%. And also, don't forget, we're going to be doing an iRacing league for our members. We're still working on prize packages for that. So we've got a couple guys signed up already. We're going to try and get that filled up to 6, 8, 10 cars at least, and then we'll do a once a month or once every couple week race, and get some pretty good prizes going on for those folks. But let's get right to it. Big news from, I guess, the last since we've talked. King of the Hammers.
That's right,
Did you get to check any of that out?
man. I got to see a little bit of it. I didn't get to watch like all the live feed stuff, but there's some game changer stuff going on.
It's the 4400 class, and we'll get to that in just a minute. The 4400 class is it is interesting now, but it is about to get interesting. But let's start. So it is kind of an unwritten rule around the shop. The Thursday that the UTV race, or whatever day the UTV race falls on, that's kind of a wash day. We don't do a whole lot. We hang out. All the TVs are playing the live feed. We're watching the race. So we've got to watch the biggest portion of the UTV race at the shop. We were talking about those Polaris Pro Rs.
Right.
Brock Hager came out and just whacked the field.
Oh yeah.
In that Pro R. Like, I don't know, dude. I guess his closest competition was going to be Kyle Chaney, and I don't know if they had a transmission issue or what on the first lap, but they didn't get a finish. And then after that, I mean, the dude, I have never seen a winning streak, especially in off-road racing, but really in any racing. The dude won Dakar. He's won Baja solo. He won the Baja 1000 solo.
That's crazy.
Won the Hammers Desert Race 2 years in a row. Now he's won the Rock Race. Dakar. If I know when I say Dakar, people are like, "Oh, that's that race in Africa." It is, but it's like 2 weeks long.
Yeah, it's like the brutal race.
It's like a cross country. Like literally, not cross country guys like your high school cross country team where they go run around in a damn field. No, it's across the country. Like, that's unreal. And the first time he'd even seen the place, went over there and waxed everybody. And then, I don't know, these UTVs are getting good.
That's right.
And we had a discussion. Of course, we've talked about running, and we will. But we had a discussion at the shop about, I guess, what you need in the car. We don't know. We've never really talked to anybody about what they take with them, what kind of spare parts they throw in the car. My thing was, let's just say we decide we want to go run. We don't want to go buy a car. We take the old full body, right? Let's hypothetical. We're just going to take that. It needs to be stretched to foot.
Right.
not because of the ride. Where are you going to put everything?
Yeah, it's like almost like just hook a trailer up behind it.
Yeah, it's like these new cars are like SUVs, and the old full body is like a mini compact car.
Right.
So, we were talking about, some of these guys, most of the UTVs, I think we only seen one that had like 2 spare tires racked up. We were talking, why don't these guys take, especially tires? I mean, that's a big deal.
Right.
Why don't you take more stuff? And then, I guess if you're planning on winning, if you're changing tires, you're not winning.
Right.
I think last year, Cheney, I did see him, I remember him and Cash changing the tire.
Right.
But the last few years before that, I don't recall the winner ever stopping.
Right.
And like this year, Brock Hager, they had enough fuel in that car to run the whole race.
Yeah,
He didn't stop for anything. So, my concern is, where are we going to put all this stuff so we can finish? But I guess, like I said, what I'm getting after is, if your goal is to go win, you don't need anything.
That's right.
You just need somebody that can reach back there in the cooler and get you a bottle of water every now and again.
Right.
And truck on. But what would you, or have you talked to anybody to know, like, what all do the UTV guys take with them when they race?
Man, I don't know. It's like the main thing that everybody talks about is catheters.
Well, yeah.
And like
they like to talk about that because you're not supposed to talk about that.
Right. And it's like that's the only thing. They're just like
they're more worried about how to pee than they are how to finish the race.
So I mean that's the one thing that kind of weirds me out is like them talking about the catheters and running it through the floorboard and then pissing on the guys that's in the pits with them. But man, I don't know. Like it'd be definitely a learning curve for someone that's never been before, just to even figure out where everything is. And it's like some of these guys that don't go out and pre-run, they just go out and race every year. It's like, in my eyes, it would take 2 or 3 years of going and just doing that before you ever just really figure out where the lay of the land, I guess.
It would be one of those deals. I mean, I don't want to say nothing and act like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't, because I don't. But I feel like if you started, towards the back, you could follow the burn-in line, you could follow the dust, and you could get a pretty good idea of where you're going.
Right.
But if you get separated, so I guess they've got 2 different, a VCP and a something else. I don't know. It's more or less a trail marker. And in the desert, you have to be within 150 foot of that marker when you pass it.
Right.
And then in the rocks, you have to be within 50 feet of it when you pass it. So that would be the struggle. I mean, you could get from A to B.
Right.
It would just be, I think even Brock Hager had, he won the race handily by almost 30 minutes, but had 20-something minutes of penalty.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So to me, the navigation, of course, is the hardest part. But I don't know. It's just a curiosity thing for me, really. Like the weight of the car, how much do you bring? How dead set are you on finishing?
Right. I mean, I would think, like tool wise, like if it were me, we were talking hypothetically, right off the top of my hand or the top of my head, definitely tires, definitely belts, definitely an axle or 2. And then my goal would just be to finish.
It would. I'm going to tell this. We're Brandon Davis, our buddy from Rock Bouncing. Brandon went and ran King of the Hammers, and most people who watch our show know who Whiskey Biz is. Oh, Bryce Sparks. Well, he posted a video on his socials of his race weekend, and in the video, he's coming up on Brandon. He's like, "Oh, it took me a while to get past this guy," kind of acting like, Brandon was holding him up.
Right.
And of course, he didn't know who that was and didn't mean anything negative by it. But Brandon finished the race. Bryce had to get towed in because he lost a tire. Lost it. Fell off the car.
Well,
so it's like you've got to finish.
That's right.
So it's, I don't know, dude. I'm almost like a woman when it comes to packing. I overpack. I bring too much stuff anywhere I go. So when we do go hammers racing, don't let me pack the car.
I would be the same way. Like, it'd be like, okay, first of all, we've got to put the biggest cooler on this thing that we can for all the Cumberland Gap water.
Yes.
And like, we've got to take 4 cases of water with us because we're in the desert. We may die.
Yes.
And then definitely belts and axles. And then the rest, probably some tires. Like, the rest we could probably manage to get back home.
Well, me and Matthew at the shop was talking. I was like, okay, we would need an extra tall cage so I could put some bar clamps up there. We could have a couple A-arms mounted to the roof. We could have radius rods mounted behind the seats. Tool-wise, that's the one thing that I'm going to skimp on because there's only so many bolts on a racer.
Right. You just need just the minimal amount of tools.
You know what you need. Now, something's going to come up and you're going to need something that you don't have. But if it gets to that point, you're in a bad shape anyways. But you know what tools it takes to take it apart.
Right.
So that's all you need. But parts-wise, man, I'd be like, okay, where are we going to put this diff?
Yeah.
Where can we bolt this thing in? Yeah, I'd be a mess doing that. I feel like, though, the best thing to do would be just take a tie rod, take some hard parts. You see a lot of bolt failures.
Right.
Take a bolt bag.
Right.
Put a few bolts in there and just go have fun.
That's it.
Just go have fun. But speaking of Brandon and Cheryl went and finished, I think, 21st overall, 9th in class. There was like 140 entries in the UTV class. Only 28 finishers, I think, 28, 29.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So, super pumped for those guys. They went straight into the open class, which is it's a debate on if open or pro mod is the class, but they were in the open class that won the overall, so we'll give them the nod. 9th in class, first time out there, got a finish, and admittedly got lost for an hour.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Cheryl, she told on herself, said she gave bad directions. They went the wrong way, and then they were like, "Oh, I don't think we're supposed to be here." And then turned around and got back on course. I don't think they got any penalties to amount to anything, so still clean. I was watching it on the tracker, and they were right next to Brian Deegan a bunch, Jeremy McGrath. They did spend some time next to Whiskey Biz. But there was a whole gaggle of cars. I think Jay Shaw was intertwined with them for a while. Yeah, they did good. I'm super proud of them. The class that I want to run, which is the sportsman stock class, that is the it is stock as stock racers can get, and still race hammers.
Right.
I think you're limited to a 33-inch tire. That's the class I want to go after, because guess how many people finished that class this year?
So it probably wasn't many at all.
None.
Man.
No finishers. I think last year there was 2 finishers. So that is as much fun and as exciting as going for the overall would be. I feel like if you can go do well in that sportsman stock class, it's almost like you've done more.
Yeah, it's almost like that would be, I guess, compared to like a small tire class.
Yes.
And, that's what size we do all this rock bouncing with, 30, 32-inch tire. So, I mean, that's right up our alley.
We're down. We could do it. Listen, I am going to give Brandon a little crap, though. And I ain't trying to throw nobody under no bus. But he gets up there and he does his interview, and they're like, okay, who do you want to thank? And he goes through a sponsor list, and he goes, oh, yeah, Mickey Thompson Tires. And then when the camera backs out, what's he got on there? Rockzilla's all the way around the car. Brandon, you can't do that. Come on. Support, put them Mickeys on there. Do it in them Mickeys. That's what you're going to do. Come on. But yeah, no, he done good. Paul Wolf, he's chasing that Hammers win every year. He's right there. He's close. He's in the hunt this year. I think he got, fourth overall, third in class, or maybe third and second in class. I can't remember. But he had a hard day. Don't know how he ended up where he ended up. A couple people in front of him kind of crapped out, and he was able to make some passes there at the end of the race. But I don't know. He's eventually going to get one. I feel like he's just in the hunt too much. I don't know what kind of bad juju they've got on his big car. But he has the worst luck with that thing at Hammers. And I don't know if it's just they run it to death. Like they run that car so much.
Right.
They race every Ultra 4 race. They pre-run with it. They race with it. But like he cannot finish at Hammers.
Right.
In that car.
And like, man, you don't know what would be the best thing to do. If it's almost like Hammers is the whole different race series in itself.
It is.
Like you have so many people that just run Hammers. And then you have so many people that run Hammers and the Ultra 4 stuff too. But a lot of those guys have like pre-running cars. So I don't know if it's one of those things like you and I talked about in the past. It's like you can't take one car and run multiple classes with it and expect it to last.
No, I don't think so. Like I said, I don't know. That just, that car, of course, you got to think that they go through all this stuff all the time. It's not like, I guess, okay, let me back up. That car's a used car. They bought it used.
Right.
They've raced it. I'm sure there's still some stuff on it from when they bought it, but I'm sure there's a lot of new parts too, just like any race car. So the car itself is an older car, but the parts are probably new. But
right.
Like every time he goes out there, it's something.
Right.
And I get it. It is a hard race. I get it. It's just the luck that follows him around in that. It would be enough to make me say bad words.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But like this year, leading the race. Just some kind of, I think it was some kind of electrical gremlin. He lost reverse. It's just like, it's one thing on top of another.
Right.
But while we're on the topic of Paul and the 4,400 class race, Kyle Chaney didn't have any luck in the UTV race, but wins the 4,400 race in a Can-Am.
Right.
So they made him, he run it last year and almost won it last year. But they made him basically, they changed the rules. They're trying to, I don't want to say they're trying to limit the UTVs in the 4,400 class. They're trying to make it safe for them.
Right.
Because they're out there racing, they're a 2,500 pound car and they're out there racing these 5,000 pound, 1,000 horsepower rigs.
Right.
So they made him build a whole new car. And he comes out and wins the race in his Can-Am. Now, if you guys follow me on my socials, I posted a picture of one of the Miller brothers driving the same Can-Am that Chaney was driving. And the damn thing breaks in half.
Right.
Breaks in half. And, of course, me being the smart ass I am, is it, Can-Am doing Can-Am things was the caption. I had some people jump on there. And it's not just my post, but I noticed all across the internet, that's not a Can-Am. When I posted that picture, that was the response I got. That's not a Can-Am. That's a custom chassis, blah, 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 blah. And that's what the whole world said when that car broke in half. But when Chaney wins the race in the sister car to that, everybody's like, he won that race in a Can-Am.
Right.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did
and
he?
I get what you're saying.
Did he? Because the other one wasn't no Can-Am.
Yeah. Yeah. If it breaks, it's not a Can-Am, but if it wins races, it's a Can-Am.
Yeah. And I am not knocking them, boys. We run Polaris Razors in our, the rock bouncing UTVs. No different than what Chaney was running.
Right.
There's no.
It's still
Polaris.
It's still a custom chassis car.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, it's got the powertrain, I guess you could say, of a Polaris. They've got the powertrain and suspension of a Can-Am, but nothing's Can-Am left.
Right.
We know that. But what is it, boys? I want to know. Did he win the race in a Can-Am or did he not? Somebody tell me.
Yeah, it's kind of like the big cars, and it's like, oh, they're running the new Bronco.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that's like Ford Bronco taking the credit for.
It's no different than NASCAR or IndyCar or Formula One or drag racing. You're using a powertrain and an engine based from that manufacturer. Based. And then the rest of it is a race.
That's right.
Like you said, that damn Lauren Healy, that ain't no Bronco. No more than John Force's funny car is a Camaro.
Right.
Or Kyle Larson's Chevrolet is a Camaro.
That's right.
Or, it's no different. It's just name recognition is all it's about. And branding. But I just like it when the internet can't handle it. Can't handle the truth.
What's that, a double conundrum? Is that what they're calling?
Yes. It's
like,
I like to have fun with
Can-Am won. Well, then what's this? Like, oh, that's not a Can-Am.
That's not a Can-Am. That's
get that shit off my internet.
Yeah, that's built by somebody else. That's not a Can-Am.
Yeah, the builder's gonna hear about that one Monday.
Oh man. So no shit. I'm gonna go back to the one that fell apart. I was watching that, and I was in real time. I was watching it. Of course, it's a Mavar base with the big high knuckles and all that stuff. And theirs were painted Can-Am colors, had them big yellow knuckles. Well, I was watching him come down the rocks, and they had an overhead drone video of him, and I could see the suspension arms moving and not moving up and down. It looked like they were moving forward and back.
Right.
And like it was kind of shimmying a little bit. And I'm like, of course, we're watching this from a drone that's probably 200 foot above him or something. And I'm like, that's just camera angle. I'm seeing stuff. That's not real. And then as he's coming down the rocks, I don't know what this is, probably 10 minutes later. As he's coming down the rocks, they get a hard camera on him, and you can really start to see stuff move. And I go, oh shit, it's breaking in half. And then right after that, the tires really started rocking and the thing just folds. But listen, they said that it didn't break at the welds. Like they actually ripped a tube in half.
That's crazy.
That is, man, that shows how tough that race is.
Right. It sounds like it had one of Thomas's drive shafts in it too, because that's all was holding the car together.
Hey, yeah, it really was. They took the winch and some ratchet straps and got that thing picked back up. I think they run the winch up under the machine and hooked to the back bumper and tried to pull the front end back down. Got some ratchet straps, and I think they drove that thing out.
That's wild.
Or at least to a better location to be retrieved. But yeah, that race is just crazy, man. And there's not one car out there that's winning any of this stuff that is what it says on the side. So everybody just chill. If a Can-Am breaks down, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it looks like a spaceship and it's got a Can-Am sticker on it. I'm going to give it shit. That's just what I do. But moving from that, did you see the jump right in Hammertown?
Man, that hurt. Just watching that hurt.
Well, there was, of course, there was the Gladiator, Paul Wolf, in his UTV, did it at the start of the race. There were several people over the course of the week that just lawn darted. I don't know what the thought process is on that.
Yeah,
I bet they don't have that back next year.
Yeah, the only one I really saw was the Gladiator, and man, I was like, I saw it when it took off, and I was like, ooh, that don't look like it's gonna be good. And then, sure enough, it just lawn darts right in the side of the landing ramp. Ugh.
Listen, there was a good takeaway from that. We recently just started selling Baja Designs lights at the shop. Had never had a line to them, got a line to them now, so we've been moving some of those. And if you'll go to Baja Designs socials, they posted a video this week. I guess that Jeep had a big Baja light bar on the front of it.
Yeah.
Still turns on, still works. They made, perfect pitch for that deal. Couldn't have worked out any better for them. I'm sure the guy with the Jeep was like, well, my shit's fucking totaled, but I'm glad your light bar works.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, that would have to hurt though. Man, anything else about hammers? I miss the shootout. That used to be my Wednesday night. My Wednesday night hangout ritual. We used to get we had like industrial grade projectors, and we'd go outside and throw it up on the barn and watch the shootout outside, or have big shootout parties basically here in Kentucky.
Hey, we did the same thing in Alabama, and it's like, everybody just like hang out at somebody's shop we'd all get tanked up on a work night, school night, whatever, and it'd be one of those things like you'd be like staying up as late as you could because it's like a 3 or 4 hour time difference. It's
Oh,
like
it was late.
it's like man, it's like I really want to stay up and watch Bobby Tanner blister everybody's ass, but I'm about to pass out, and I just can't
We
do it.
of course I watched all of them, but the last one that was really any good was when Cash took his razor bouncer out there and put it to everybody. And then of course you got to go back to Bobby Tanner and Bobby made backdoor look so easy, and then you had Bad Donkey out there years ago making it look easy. Will Stewart out there just
Oh yeah,
walking the dog. And then they moved it out of backdoor over to where it was more inviting, I guess, for the locals,
mm-hmm.
the rock crawler crowd. And nothing against rock crawling. Like I've got Toyota rock crawlers and it's fun. It's not a spectator sport.
Right.
It's just not. It's not. It doesn't draw the crowd. But when they moved it, I think it lost some of the luster. And then, of course, they didn't have it this year. I hope they bring it back. I understand it's a big commitment. And you really don't get the crowd from here, which is where most of your big bouncers are at on the East Coast. It's hard for us to go out there for a Wednesday night deal.
Right.
So I understand. I do understand why they didn't have it. But nonetheless, we still miss it, and we hope they bring it back at some point. Maybe next year. Who knows?
If nothing else, do like every 3 to 5 years.
Well, I think that was part of the thing is backdoor was cool and exciting. It was a short climb, 20 something seconds, very doable. It got easy,
right,
for our crowd. I mean, it just did. And so I think they moved, like I said, they moved it, and the area they moved it to just wasn't as exciting and spectator friendly, and so they just dropped it. But yeah, I would like for them to do it every so many years. But here's the thing, guys, we can't wait. We can't wait till January to put out the King of Hammers schedule.
Right.
And expect a bunch of rock bouncers from Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky to travel across the country on a 2-week notice.
Yeah. And like I'm not real familiar with all that, but it seems like you would need as much preparation as possible before you do hit the back door.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like yes. Oh, I tried to keep it together. I couldn't. Okay. Let's get out of the back door. Outlaw.
Speaking of back door.
Speaking of back door. Oh, Jesus Christ. Outlaw's coming up this weekend. Offroad. Not looking like a big car count for that event. They released their pre-registered 10 bouncers, maybe 8 UTVs. What do you think is going on there? Is it weather? Is it too early? Or is it just, we heard that there was going to be a bunch of people not running that this year. Is it just people doing what they said they was going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a little bit of both. I mean, we knew that some of the big cars were going to just focus solely on Clyde stuff this year. But also, Hawk Pride is usually when a lot of the guys want to go run and just get the first race out of the year or first race of the year out of the way, and kind of check the card out. Just do a good shakedown. It's local to a lot of people, so I kind of feel like the weather has a lot to do with it also, because we're getting a little bit of rain now. We're supposed to get some more tomorrow. I think Thursday and Friday is supposed to be hit and miss, and then again Saturday is supposed to be like a 80-90% chance of rain. So I really hope that the weather is the reason why they're having a small car count.
Well, I had originally been talking to Nathaniel Bell, and me and him were going to go down. He was going to go down and race, and I was going to go down and film. And now we're both on the
On the fence about it.
do we really want to? I love a good rock bouncer show, but if it does rain, it's going to be two things. I mean, they're going to have to put on a show because it's going to be all horsepower, especially at that place. But also, if it rains a lot, is anything down there doable?
Right. And I feel like they'll probably run the same place they ran last year.
They don't run where we run, dude.
They haven't the last 2 years, I think. I know they didn't last year, but the year before they may have raced the same area that we ran, or they may have raced where the old race hills, and then I think they moved it to where they are now. And where they are now is a pretty cool area. It's just really not that spectator friendly, but I still feel like the rain is gonna. You can't count out the rain having an effect on the race hills.
Well, I was going to just drive my pickup down and not take side by side or anything because everything's within walking distance, really.
Right.
But, if they're giving all this rain, I don't want to be trying to walk down them muddy ass hills in soup. So I was like, well, I'm going to have to take my General or my four-wheeler or something. And I still haven't made my mind up. I'll make my mind up Friday evening. It just depends on how I feel.
Right.
But man, there's, some notables not on the Outlaw. Now, guys, this is Tuesday. There's still time.
Right.
So I'm not trying to call anybody out. It's just a pre-registered list. And listen, they've been known for throwing out some really crazy pre-registered lists. This one is not. Missing from the list, no Timmy Cameron, which he doesn't have a bouncer done yet. No Daniel Heckley, no Jay Storts, no Bowman, no Bentley, no DC Thompson, no shoot, I'm just trying to think. None of our regular crowd, what I would consider, is on the list. The only one is Wade. Wade Good is scheduled. The Kings, UTV-wise, the Kings are scheduled. No Caissons on the list. No Dylan Dowler. No Martin Stewart. Of course, like I said, all this could change. They all may just be waiting on the weather, too.
Right.
But it's just... I know we give them a lot of grief on here, but I've said this before. It's because I want to see them succeed. I don't want to have to talk shit. I don't. I want to see them do good. I want everybody to do good. So, I hope that they can get it together and get their car counts back. When we had the National Rock Racing Association, Pro Rock Racing, Point One, and Outlaw, and all these parks were having their local events, everybody's like, oh, that's when rock bouncing was thriving. No, not really.
Right.
There was too much going on then. Everybody was spread too thin. We were racing if you wanted to try and run as much as you could, you were racing 25 weekends a year.
That's right.
But I feel like we do need two decent series. We've got, the National Rock Racing Association. We need Outlaw to succeed, just for a change of pace. And I don't want to downplay it, but it's a 5-race season where ours is a 10. So if somebody wanted to come in and just get their feet wet and try and attempt a championship hunt, or maybe your work schedule allows you 5 weekends and not 10.
Right.
It's needed. There's a place for it. And so I hope I hope they get it together, whatever it is. And I hope to see them make first races of the year usually have a big crowd.
Right. Yeah, it's like when you say first race of the year, I think about National Rock Racing at Windrock.
We may be sticking our damn foot in our mouth. We may not have a big car count when it comes to Windrock either, but typically it's pretty good.
Well, that and then the crowd's always good. I mean, there's always large crowd, big car count, and I feel like even if we didn't have a big car count, we'd still have the crowd.
Yeah.
And I'm like you. I mean, there's a need for two of them. I'm like you. I hope everything is, goes well for them this season as for us. I know that a lot of people are stepping back. We've got Timmy that said he's focusing on points chasing circle track. So, Timmy brings the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
And, I don't know if that's something that's hurting Outlaw this year too, with Timmy not being there.
So your casual fan, that's not somebody that's ingrained in the sport. The first question I get at every race is Timmy here?
Right.
And you could ask that same person, like, okay, Timmy's not here, but who's your second favorite? And they look at you like you had 2 foreheads.
Yeah.
Like, it's Timmy. That's
either Timmy Cameron or I don't know. If Timmy's not here, then what about Tim Cameron?
Yeah.
It's like they just start changing shit. They're like, well, if he's not here, what is Mama selling T-shirts up there?
Yeah. So I mean, he does draw the crowd, and he will be missed. Hopefully, he can come back in 26. I seen he posted some kind of video somewhere, a picture of he was working on 26 project,
right?
So building an axle or something like that. So he is missed when he's not around. I give him a lot of grief because he comes in and stinks up the show, but he's missed. But listen, Wade's exciting to watch too.
Yeah, that's right.
Daniel Heckley is getting better and better every year. It's just, those guys haven't been there for 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is. So their name's not as recognizable. But for new people coming in, this is an opportunity to find you a new favorite driver, find you somebody else to root for.
Right.
Expand the palette.
Well, and we are going to have a hell of a points race this year.
Dude, it's going to be so crazy.
Yeah.
I like it when Timmy's not there, because it does open the field up to everybody.
Yeah.
He didn't race 2 years ago. We had a points battle down to, even the top 5 down to the last race. When he's there, it's different because, listen, if you're going to beat him, you're going to have to beat him.
Right.
And it makes everybody drive different.
Oh, that's for sure.
We seen that in the UTVs this year in the Cup class. When he came back in the Cup class, everybody who thought they were fast had to go faster.
Right.
So he's different, but when he's not around, it opens it up, and it makes it. I don't want to say more interesting because it's really not. I just don't know how to describe it.
It's harder to calculate.
Yeah. Like you legitimately don't know, what's up, who's going to win. But he is missed, and so hopefully he'll get that rig done and be back in back half of this year or 26 whenever he does show back up. So little Rock Life racing update, and then we'll get out of here for today. Blue Buggy finally got the prop shaft back in it. Diff's coming out next week. We're going to do some just maintenance on it. Had a seal leaking. Going to take it apart and see what's in it. And then it is race ready.
Sweet.
We've had it up. We have bolt checked everything. It's got everything's tight. All new bearings, brakes, fresh oil change. Been through everything that you could go through without completely disassembling the car.
Right.
So as soon as that diff gets out and in next week, it is race ready to go for Windrock. Got Braden's Razor chassis together. He went and tested it, completely disintegrated the diff.
Oh.
Yeah, it was bad. But the car worked well.
That's
got
good.
it disassembled. It's sitting on the shop floor going to powder tomorrow. For you guys listening, I'm in a dilemma. I've got 4 days before I have to tell them what color I want it. I get to pick the color. Braden don't get a say. So you know how I like to do themed wraps.
Right.
I've got some pretty good ones worked up for Braden, but we're still kind of undecided on the final. So I've got a few days to pick a color and a wrap theme. And if you guys have any suggestions, legitimate suggestions, we're not having a badge of seal car. If you have any legitimate suggestions, shoot us a comment, send us a message. We will take them all into consideration. But I got to do something by Monday. So, yeah, I got to decide.
That's
I'm
tough.
I'm at a crossroads. So right now, here's our options. We've thought about this a little bit. So the original theme was going to be a Bucky's themed car, and it still could be. So we were going to do that. And today, a group of people had a discussion about it at the shop, and you know how we like to do our NASCAR themes. We were thinking the old Terry Labonte Kellogg's car.
Yeah.
Like try and incorporate that, make that a chassis. I wanted to do the old six-pack, not six-pack. Is it six-pack? The fastest chicken in the South. But see, you're looking at me funny. Nobody knows what it is.
Yeah. That one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Diehards will understand what I'm talking about. And then there's a couple other little things we were thinking about, but we've not settled on nothing yet. It's probably going to be red or black. So somebody wanted to do it. Somebody mentioned doing it blue today, and I'm like, no, we've got a blue car. We're not making duplicates. We've already got a full size one and a half size one.
Yeah.
Not doing duplicates. So we're going to do something different. We could just go back. It is the Wonder Buggy. There is remnants of the Wonder Buggy in this buggy.
Right.
So we could just take it all the way back. We could bring the old Wonder Buggy back to life, which I'm not against. That's been a thought. So, but if you guys have any option, any ideas, hit me with that. Let's see. Oh, Brantley Havens. I seen his dad has been reworking that car.
Right.
He is going after that new division championship in the teen amateur UTV class. Which I don't know. I haven't talked to him. I don't know if they're still planning on running stock class on Friday and the other class. I don't know if that's an option. But so they've been working all winter.
I've seen where a lot of people have signed up for that class.
I think it'll be good. It depends on, and I haven't dug into the rules. It depends on how they determine eligibility for the class.
Right.
Cash Squir's a teenager. He ain't no amateur.
Right.
So it depends on how they determine eligibility for that class. If they keep it legitimate, strictly just a teen class, then that's good. But if people start trying to play the rules and that, they can ruin it real quick.
Right.
I just hope they get enough people to actually have the class and enjoy the class. Because listen, I remember in 1997, 8, we were racing roundy rounds. We had what would be the equivalent of a mini stock. I was driving it at the local short track, and we showed up with it one Friday night. There was no age rule. I signed up, and they go, "Oh, he can't race." Well, why can't I? There's no age rule. Oh, you're too young. You can't race with us. So they made a teen amateur class for me.
On the spot.
On the spot. And so the first 3 weeks I raced by myself.
Man.
It was just a glorified practice session.
Yeah.
We had at one point, there was 4 of us on track at one time. Me and another kid, we had fun with it when it was just me and him. We would start, side by side, and we'd race. And if one of us would get ahead of the other, we'd just stop.
Yeah.
And just wait on each other and line back up and take back off.
Yeah.
Like never touched, never wrecked each other, just had fun. Didn't care about trophies or none of that. But I will say, and this is where I was going with that, it kind of got a little boring racing with 2 or 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they get enough interest in that class. Trophies are cool, but when you only beat 1 or 2 people to get one, it gets kind of redundant.
Right.
So hopefully they get enough. I've got a building full of trophies out here from 98, 99. Our big teen class feature winner. Never finished out of the top 3, bud. Never. I hope they keep it interesting. But see, what else we got going on? Anything else, man?
That's about it.
I'm trying to think. I've not really heard any updates.
I was going to ask you if you'd heard any updates on the new bouncer class. Has anybody signed up for that?
I have not.
Have you heard any talk of anybody running that class?
I really have not.
I thought like some people would probably step down from the bouncer class
Well,
to try to run that.
there was some mention that some guys that were already running with us that were going to step down to that. It's kind of like, I guess you can kind of think of it like a guy running the NASCAR Cup Series and then stepping back down into the Truck Series or Xfinity Series because they weren't doing so good in the Cup, but they can go chase trophies down there.
Right.
And you're better off getting yourself some recognition, getting some trophies, at least staying high on yourself that way as to go get beat up in the other classes every week. So
Right.
I do think there will be a couple people switch over to that, but I've not heard specifically of any person new. That needs to be something I can reach out to Claude and see if we've got any interest in that as far as entries. The only thing I know for certain is that you've signed up for season driver again for 2025. So we'll be at least the majority of races running the old Polaris Razor in the UTV stock class and UTV Unlimited. And rumor is that you're coming out of retirement. We might run a couple bounty races this year.
I'm considering it. When L&W built that car for us, Chet said that he built that car to be a bounty car. And I just like that it's shiny and new, and I want to take care of it. So we want to keep it shiny and new as long as possible. So we may race a bounty here and there, but I still want to get some more seat time in it by running Cup class in it.
Yeah. Yeah, probably smart. Bounty's expensive.
It is.
And
it's
hard on parts and body.
Right.
But we'll play that by ear.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, that, if nothing else, we'll put the car on the podium this year.
Listen.
Or we're gonna drive it like we're trying to anyway.
You better.
We've been getting a lot of seat time.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the old iRacing.
Yes. I don't think that's going to translate well to hill climbing, but it is technically seat time.
Well, what I have been doing is sometimes, like if I do lose control on some of these courses, I just never let out of the throttle, and I hit the wall as hard as I can just to give me a good perspective of what it's like bounty racing again. Like just hit the wall 100 miles an hour.
Oh God!
I mean, it's been fun.
It has. We've laughed a lot. All right, guys and gals, that's it. We're gonna get out of here. Don't forget, if you've stayed this long and you've probably already done it, but if you haven't, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Go get that membership if that's something that interests you. Get you discounts and get signed up if you got iRacing. We're going to start that iRacing league here soon for members only. And we'll be back next week for our follow-up. We'll talk about what happened at the Outlaw race and start sliding in to the start of the NRA season. All right, guys. Bye.
See ya.